Our next speaker has 20 years leading marketing initiatives at companies like GoPro, Skull Candy, and consulting brands like North Face, Reebok, Purina, Best Buy, Target, and so much more. Our next speaker founded the Grounded Company, a creative agency, and Brenda, a creative data platform. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a nice warm welcome and also from the great state of Utah. We have half of the population of Utah here today. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Nick Stagge, everybody.
Thank you. And quick thanks to the Absolute Web team and Sergio. You guys have been just incredible. You're right, I came from Utah. It's snowing there, and this morning I had my feet in the sand, so life's pretty good. Definitely not going home tomorrow either, so some more time eating Cuban sandwiches. I gotta be real though, I'm a little nervous. This stage is like really narrow, and I'm not a very narrow guy, so there may be a moment where I'm head over heels off the front of this stage. Look, I am a longtime marketer who really has kind of faked my way through the performance side and been more on the brand, the advocacy, the human side of brands. And I believe so heavily in that. But I also recognize that you can be really human unless you understand performance and data, and you're working side by side with people who really get that side of it. Your business just isn't going to grow. So at the Grounded Company, we're a creative agency that works side by side with these performance agencies. And as we started going through and figuring out tone, messaging, what's stopping the scroll, what's not stopping the scroll, I realized that the way that we've been doing things is pretty outdated, and it's not that great. So we started manually figuring out new ways to merge these two teams together. And what we've come up with, we think, is pretty cool. And we just beta launched a second company, a creative analytics platform called Brenda. This is definitely not a pitch about Brenda. Don't worry, I'm not gonna pitch you on Brenda. But I think it's important that you understand kind of the context of why I'm on stage and what we're talking about as it relates to A/B testing. Because the Brenda platform, really at its core, it's about surfacing meaningful and insightful data that helps produce better creative, better content. Because as you're optimizing and you're scaling and you're running ads and you're figuring out iOS 14 effed me, what do I do next? Well, some of the answer is just have better creative. It's not the only answer, but it's certainly a part of it. So let's talk about what that looks like. And I want to start by just going through what every single marketing meeting in the history of my 20 years has ever looked like. And it always starts the same way with a leader or a CMO. And I see someone smiling. She's like, I know exactly what this is. And they're like, look, we have huge goals. We need to have a plan because we need to do $218 billion in the next 90 days. Go. And everyone's just standing there like, this lady's crazy. But it's true. And look, I've been on the other side. I've been that CMO that's like, we have huge goals. How the hell are we going to make them happen? And then you get the performance person, and they're spitting out things like, well, we're going to optimize and we're going to automate and we're going to make sure that we're running efficiently and we're going to scale and ROAS and CPM and CAC and, they're going through all these things. And the creatives are on the other side and they're kind of like, jackwagon. It's true, right? But then the creatives chime in and they're like, look, it's got to be about the design and the feel, and is it on brand? Is it not on brand? I know that ad converted, but it's not really who we are. And the performance is like, this person's a moron. And there's this huge divide between these teams a lot of times, right? You have digital on one side that's all about science, and please, for the love of it, if you ever say creative is about art, like, I will slash your tires. It's not. It is about the psychology, right? But these two things are not always the same, and they're hard to start trying to get people to come together. So how do we try to bridge this gap between digital and creative? Anybody? It's in the name of this talk. Yeah, he was listening. It's A/B testing. A lot of times we're like, let's just throw two options out there and see what happens, right? But you know my stance, and that while we try to bridge this gap with A/B testing, there's this really ugly, nasty truth, and it is this. Like, A/B testing sucks so bad. It sucks so bad. It doesn't actually really help you scale and grow quickly. So there's three main reasons why A/B testing sucks. And I saw you getting ready to take a picture. That slide's coming back in a second. Number one, it takes way too long. So what do I mean? A/B testing should be fast. Right? All you performance marketers, you're like, creative will whip up 2 versions in like 8 seconds. The hell's the problem? Why am I waiting? And then creative's like, we built them. Still not up. Like, what's going on? But it's not that it takes long to necessarily create the A/B creatives, ads, or to go push them live on whatever platform or channel you're driving them through. It's that you have to do it over and over and over before you make any real progress, because you're looking at one variable at a time. And so you're just like inching along, and the learnings aren't that great. And because you have to keep running these tests over and over and over again, it becomes really expensive. Okay, so it takes a long time, it's super expensive, and then it's not all that insightful. And here's where you can take that picture again. I'll get out of your way. That's why A/B testing sucks so bad. Let's play a game. I hit the wrong button. Let's play a game and see if I can demonstrate this a little bit further. At the Grounded Company, one of our clients is Cowboy Cauldron. Wasn't me. That's a win. It wasn't me. Cowboy Cauldron, they sell these gigantic hanging cauldrons, and you have like bonfires. We could all sit around. I mean, they're gigantic. They're perfect for a backyard in Utah. These things are money. They're also freaking expensive. But when we were talking with the founder of Cowboy Cauldron, Mike, he's like, I don't know what works. I think we should A/B test a bunch of stuff. So let's look at what he wanted to A/B test and get your guys' opinion. Who thinks this one wins? No one? Literally no one in this room is like, this ad is better than this one? Is that what you're saying? This ad is 100% better. I don't have one person who thinks this one is better. This completely blew up in my face. Holy smokes, you gotta be kidding me. What makes this ad good? Like, why do you guys like this one more? Yeah.
It's short, it's to the point, it's concise. I think that the copy on that one, it reads a little bit more friendly. Yeah. And I also like where the logo is on this one particularly better. I think that it's more visible with less background noise and clutter on there.
Nice. So, anyone have any other reasons why this ad is better?
Well, it sells a dream. It sells the desire of the customer, not just the actual brand.
It sells a dream that this one doesn't sell because of the words and where the logo is?
No, that tells me what he does the product.
This one tells you what the product does. This one tells you you could make your backyard pretty bitchin'. No? Just saying. Like, I want to make sure that we understand what we're testing here and why we like one over the other, right? I saw another hand back there.
You referred to the copy, right? Obviously, they come on the shorter, first one is longer. I also want to work on the dream idea. And I think it's not just the dream, it's also the curiosity. And this with the second ad.
Yeah.
Maker burns when they're the same. So if I click on it, I'll find out what actually is changing. So that's the second part that I like.
The more intriguing thing.
Okay. So there's some good reasons here, but at the core, these two ads are very similar. So we understand shorter copy is better. Maybe not always the case, but between these two, shorter copy is better. Burn is better than transform, maybe. The logo in a different spot. We're learning a couple things, right? And we're going to have to, we don't necessarily, when we A/B test, get to sit down with why someone clicked or didn't click on an ad. We have to then take and look and ask ourselves and answer those questions. Let's try it again. Who likes this one? Okay, it's not 100% this time. Woo. So I'm assuming everyone else likes this one more. Okay, who liked this one again? All right. Anybody who likes this one want to tell me why they like this one more right here?
Because I know what the product does.
You know what the product does?
I know what it is. Like, is that on the one on the right? It's not as obvious.
So having copy tell you you can cook here makes it more obvious than not having the copy, same image of someone cooking here.
Why does he have
People are laughing, but like that's real, right? But it is, you're laughing because it's kind of like, well, duh. But other people are saying this one's better. So why is this one better? For the people who are raising their hands for this one, why do you like this one more? Because in the last round we said shorter copy is better. So now are we saying just short copy is good, no copy is not good? Not always. So when is it good and when isn't it good?
That's why you're a marketer. It's not always an exact formula.
Sure. But these questions, you know, every time these questions come up and you start talking as a group, you got your CMO and you got your digital marketer and you got your creative marketer, and they're like, is it that it's copy or no copy? Like, let's run another A/B test, right? And it just takes longer and it takes more money. And then you're learning like one thing, right? Let's look at this one. Who likes this ad more than this ad? Who likes this one? Okay, a lot of people like this one. Why do you guys like this one? People.
The copy relates to the actual image.
Yeah.
The other one.
This copy says the same thing, but it just doesn't relate to the image, is what you're saying. Okay, so it's not about the copy. It's about the copy feels more like an experience here than eating. I mean, I hate to break it to you, but I think eating is one hell of an experience. So I don't know if I agree with you on that one, but I hear what you're saying. Sure. Okay, why else do you guys like this one? People who raise their hand over here, why do you like this one?
The plan.
It invokes a particular emotion.
Okay, and what particular emotion is that?
For people that have been in front of a fireplace, feelings of warmth, community.
Warmth, community.
There's s'mores there, so.
People do like s'mores, which I'm sorry, but like I don't understand that at all. They're so gross. Okay, I'd much rather eat this than a s'more, by the way. So people who like this ad, why?
Fun.
It's fun?
Cookie, barbecue.
Color.
So even though you're not seeing people in here, you're thinking about like people and friends and having a beer with somebody and, okay, why else?
I mean, I think that this image on the left is dull, personally.
It's kind of hard to see.
Yeah, I feel like it's a little bit grainy.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like it sticks out to me. And if I was looking at two images, the right one would make me stop and it would make me pay more attention due to the bright colors. Already I'm more engaged with that ad just because of the way that the color in the image is versus the left side of the ad. And then also on the right ad, like you said, people like food in general, so food is looking delicious. I feel like it's gonna make people more interested as well.
Okay. Yeah.
I feel like the red is balanced with like the vibrant peppers at the top and the line at the bottom.
Okay. First one to talk about the little red line at the bottom. Sure, I like it. Some good learnings. Yeah, keep going.
People come together with food, so it's maybe more relatable to an audience than the campfire.
Maybe not everybody has kids this age, or like s'mores, or like kids.
And also, I would like the one focal point of one word that you remember from the.
You like that this one word is bold and bind. Like what exactly does that mean? Is it because the marshmallow's sticky? Like what?
Sure. No, I don't know. I just don't connect with that.
Okay. I saw one other hand over here. Yeah.
I mean, at first that image was more dynamic, and my eye grew to that ad more. But this one felt like, now I'm going back to this one.
Oh, what a mess we're in.
But I will say that this, like the experience here, and the product that they're selling is more in line with the ad, that they're the communication, whereas here I felt it was food and not the product.
Yeah. This literally makes me, and I don't know about you, Jeremiah, but think about home right now where it's dumping snow, and then this is like, sorry, you gotta shovel my walks, wife. I'm in Miami. Yeah.
So the reason I like the one on the left is that
Your left. This.
yeah, you're right, my left, is that we don't know inherently if it's a cooking related product. That means like that's universal, could be cooking or backyard fire pit. So it depends on like what.
This shows some range of diversity in the product.
Be more effective as an ad to help spread
Nice.
awareness of the product versus just food focused.
Okay. Yeah.
I was just gonna say, like, some people were going back and forth between the ads. It just depends also on where it's being shown. Like, it's somewhere where that's the seasonality and that's the activity to be done. I feel like that would resonate more. But maybe in somewhere where it's more about cooking and outdoors and good weather and ease of use, that would be more relevant.
So typically a lot of A/B testing, you try to control as many things and then pop in one or two variables, right? Because you want to understand that one variable. But even here, where we're saying the same thing, we have a different image, or it's the same image saying slightly different things. It's never really just a one-to-one, but it's not, you're not totally learning a whole bunch. And that's what ended up happening to us, is we were like, well, this one kind of won and that one won, but like, what's the commonality between these? We don't know. Like, why did this one win, but 2 slides back, a different one won? Like, if you put those against each other, what's happening? How does that work? What's the formula? Is it about having a logo down low, or is it about having it up high? It certainly was telling us some stuff, but we were just inching along, and we were inching along with all of our clients on these, and you're just hoping, like, oh, we hit one ad that just slays it and makes it up. But that doesn't always happen, and it doesn't always happen as fast as we'd like. Let's be real, it never happens as fast as we'd like. Oh, here's one last one, okay? I forgot I had one more. Who likes this one? 1, 2 hands. Okay, why do you like this one?
The emotional part of it.
Just like they're at a wedding, it's cute, they're in love, they live in Utah, they're gonna have like 6 kids, probably file bankruptcy in a few years, it's fine. Okay, why does everyone like this one? Yeah, you can see the product. It's not a normal product either, right? Like, I'm not kidding, this thing is awesome. You can't, if you know Cowboy Cauldron, you might be able to see this. But if you don't, you're like, I don't know. Like, why is there a bar in the way of that picture? By the way, this ad crushed that one. Like, crushed it. I lost that bet because mine was on this one over here. I was telling the team, like, not a chance the floating bar beats out the actual Cowboy Cauldron in, like, Jackson Hole, Wyoming. No way. Wasn't even close. Sometimes we're wrong, right? Like, 2 people liked this ad the most in this whole room, but it performed when we tested it. But still, I'm going to go back that at the end of the day, you don't really know a whole lot. And it goes back to those same things. It goes back to time, price, and learnings. Let me show you in a non-creative way. I intentionally made these next few slides as if a creative didn't make them. They're just boring charts and graphs that I'm now standing in the middle of. Okay, so as you start running different rounds of creative, each round costs money, and it takes longer to execute. Each round costs money, takes longer to execute, right? So, okay, that kind of makes sense. Nothing crazy about that. But if you're isolating and only looking at one or two variables, your learnings aren't increasing at the same rate. Do you know what this zone right here is called? That's pretty good. You called it lost money. I'm a creative, so I had to have a less sucky name than that. But what you got at is right, totally. We call it the graveyard. And the graveyard is where ROI goes to die. Like, if you think about it, when you're spending more time and money and your learnings aren't increasing at the same rate, you're just like bleeding money. Just bleeding money. And I've seen this over and over and over again. But we keep doing it because it's like, we're testing. We're marketers. We always got to be testing. Let's try things. But A/B testing just isn't necessarily where you learn the most, or you drive the most revenue, or you scale efficiently as fast as possible. There really needs to be a better way, and these were the questions that we started asking ourselves. And we figured out, like, oh my gosh, there really is a better way. We created all of these ads. In our first week with Cowboy Cauldron, okay, I'm like, that's a little magic. There's some copy and paste in there, but there's a lot of unique ads. We made like 18 unique ads. And we ran them all at the exact same time. Now, we broke them out. We looked at value props. And then we ran those value props as ad sets. But we split the spend within an ad set so we could look and see. Some of the value props that you probably gained from those previous A/B testing was about cooking, was about transforming your backyard, was about making beautiful memories. And we even did things about like price and shipping that we really didn't show you in some of those, but like where you're just getting these super macro shots of it's high quality. Some things over here, right? So we ran these one time. We spent 15% of their ad spend, which is their typical ad budget. But within each of these, we manually went through and started assigning metadata to every single ad. As many things as we could think of. And we did it consistently across the board. So we were looking at things like tone. We looked at images. We looked at framing. Is it a macro shot or is it a pulled back shot? We looked at, does it have people in it? One person, two people, no people? Feel like Dr. Seuss on that one a little bit, but you get the idea, right? So we start looking at all of these variables and we tag all of these pieces and we start running them against one another. And we're looking at that as more of like a multi-variable creative testing method. It's kind of amazing what you start uncovering when you look at the data. We ran all of those ads in 10 days. We spent the normal budget that we would have spent for that month. And we pulled 900 insights. Now, here's what's really interesting. When you start looking at how you run pivot tables against the data, about how you look at performance within the top, middle, bottom part of the funnel. But now I can start to tell you, look, when we run top of funnel, it needs to look like this. It needs to be this value prop. It needs to say these things. Should not do this. Should not do that. Should do this. When you move to middle of the funnel, boy, that formula totally changes. And it should look different. It should operate and function differently because we were running those around the core metrics within each piece of the funnel, right? So when we first looked at this and we pulled it, we start looking at all the formulas and we're like, there's a lot of data and this might not work. but it worked. Like crazy, it worked. He drove a 7x lift in ROAS when we ran the updated versions. When we started taking those learnings and applying them and building ads and running them in the funnel as we had gathered from these pivot tables, we're like, holy smokes, is this a one-off? We started running it against every single one of our clients. None of our clients are A/B testing anymore, and they are running multivariable testing on every single ad set. Even when we're not testing now, we're assigning metadata and tags to the images, the copy, the tone, the look, the feel, and we're measuring it so we can optimize. And we are seeing hockey stick type growth that would make that CMO at the beginning of the presentation be like, yeah, doing pretty good, right? So look, I'm not here saying don't A/B test. You can A/B test, but understand the limitations. Understand that it might be slow. It might cost a lot of money. It might not really give you that many insights. But if you take a swing on running a multivariable test and applying the learnings from it, the experience has been unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. We've seen clients last year with 112% growth. And to be honest with you, Howie's product is kind of like, not Mike's, not the Cowboy Cauldron, but Howie, who we drove 112% lift year over year for, his product is not that great. Like, it's one of those where you're like, good idea, buddy, good idea. Can't believe people are buying this, but they're buying it, right? So try it. Give it a shot, but don't just succumb to A/B testing. And as you're trying to adjust and figure out what do you do in this iOS 14, iOS 15, pandemic world, yeah, performance marketers need to look at all the different channels, and they take the advice of Jeremiah and build your own ecosystem and leverage incredible tools and partners. But don't forget about creative. Don't forget about something that makes someone stop the scroll. Don't forget about something that makes people go, oh, this brand is cool. There's this emotion that I'm feeling deep inside, and I don't know what it is, right? Like, try it. Your creative team needs to actually be a part of your performance team, but having them just run A/B testing is not really going to make that happen. We know that better data equals better creative. And when you have better creative, you do drive better results, period. And you'll make those performance marketers like, yeah, we're scaling and we're driving efficiency and, blah, 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 blah. And you'll have creatives that are like, and it's still on brand. There's a whole lot of high-fiving that goes on in those board meetings when you bridge the gap between those two. All right, any questions? Yeah.
At some point you had a slide that you guys have covered 900 data or knowledge points, something like that. Can you tell me a little bit more about it? About those 900 data points?
Yeah, so the question is, what in the heck does 900 data points mean? Yeah. So let's just take who is speaking in the ad. Could be the customer, could be the brand, or let's say it's an influencer, or let's even say it's press, right? So we might have one column, that we're looking at on every single ad, and we're tagging it. Is the copy or the voice coming from one of those four? Well, when we start running all the ads, we'll look and we'll just isolate that. And we'll be like, well, holy crap. No one gives a crap when press talks about Cowboy Cauldron. So that's fourth. The brand, not number one. Influencers, not number one. Customers.
How did you do?
Yeah, so if you couldn't hear, she asked that there was a lot of creative. How did you do it? Look, I'm a firm believer that fast creative is good creative, and good creative refined over time becomes great. We made those 18 ads in one day. We're like, give us your existing assets. We didn't go shoot anything new. We pulled images off of Instagram. We were like, that one's a good one. Let's try this. What actually took more time was saying, what are the value props that we want to run, that we believe are core to this brand? And then what are the different sort of meta tags that we're going to build so we know how to assign it? Once you have that structure, your creative's like, it's fast. We legitimately built those ads in one day. Yeah.
This may be a leading question, but how did you go about programmatically tagging which attributes are relevant for each ad tile and making sure all of them were accounted for at scale?
It's an incredible question. And the answer right now is we have a marketing coordinator who we pay $15 an hour, and we're like, I hate to tell you, but you got to go through and tag all these, and they need to be consistent. And then we have our director of strategy go through and quickly review them. Not a sales pitch, but what Brenda is doing is we're automating that, and we're working on syncing in with AWS recognition, and they will automatically pull that in, so it's done for you. But we're not there yet, but that's where we're working towards. Yeah.
Do you have a case study somewhere online of this?
So the Grounded company, one, we don't have a website. Been around for over a year, work with huge companies, and when people ask, like, where's your website? My answer, call it smug. I'm like, I'm too busy building everyone else's creative to build my own. Like, sorry. So one, Grounded doesn't have a website. Two, Brenda is something that we have been doing inside of Grounded for a year plus, and we're just now branching out and doing our own thing. So I'd be happy to talk to you and show you and like the platform and the examples of clients that we're working with and the numbers that they're spending. We're working with some brands who are spending $3,000 a month on ads, and we're working with some who are spending $100,000 a month on ads, and the results across the board are pretty remarkable. So, thanks. Yeah.
So which one was your highest performing ad of all the, and did you show us and where were they advertised?
Yeah, which one was the highest performing? Honestly, I don't know which one was the highest performing, and I don't even really care because I'm more interested in what was the formula to create future winners for growth. When we run these ads, we're running them on Facebook as broad-based ads. Did I see another hand? No? Yeah.
So as a creative, your career, you've obviously relied on certain design techniques. Anything that's now surprising you that's much different than what you've known in your career based on the testing and the learnings?
Yeah. Having an ad that is 60% done today is always better than having one that's 80% tomorrow. Like, get it out. It is crazy to me the threshold of expectations that customers and prospects have over the type of ad that you're running. Now, not in every scenario, right? But like for the vast majority, just get a whole bunch of stuff out there, learn, optimize. When you find that nugget, take that one and then make that one or that formula just sparkle. But before that, don't waste your time. Like, crank them. And people still will convert. Yeah.
What's the life cycle of a test? Like if you do one of these big, you've got your nugget. What's the length, the life cycle before you got to go out and do that again, do you think?
That's a great question. When do you need to do it again? We were running these initially as what we were calling like a market acceptance test. Like, okay, we're just starting with Cowboy Cauldron. We want to know what the market will allow, what they're interested in. And then we started realizing, like, why wouldn't we just do this all the time? The only reason that we don't do this all the time, even on non-testing budget, just with ads in general, is resource. It takes time and effort to have Tyler, she's our marketing coordinator, bless her soul, she's incredible, go through and do that. But as we're automating through Brenda, like it's just an ongoing, it feeds in from how we're classifying ads. It's pulling data automatically in from Facebook, and it's just a living cycle that's spinning. Okay? Thanks, guys.